Sometimes I even let the fathers, if they request, I let them make their own cut. And if you ever want to see someone transformed right before your very eyes, you see a father who's making the cut, the cut himself.
You know, I've always assumed when I was a youngster, when I went to yeshiva, I said, okay, of course I'm going to give my children brisses, but then when it came to the day, I was like, well, wait a second, what am I doing here?
You get one chance. You get one chance.
Right,
and
right.
it's
There
nobody
is only-
else's
right.
nobody else's responsibility but yours.
I
It's
tell you,
not
you-
the rabbis,
you know-
it's not the friends, it's not the mother-in-laws, it's not anybody's but yours.
I wasn't planning on doing it. I had no idea. I've always known that it's a father's responsibility. And I've always thought that it's my responsibility. And I've always thought that I'm going to delegate this responsibility because I'm not qualified to do it. And you came in and you said, well, do you want to cut? I'm like, I guess my first question is it safe? Can I do it?
And I said,
Will he blame you?
And you said, oh, sure, it's just a cut. I'll set all the tricks in setting it up. I'll just do it. And I said, oh, well, if it's safe and I can do it, and seems like I've handled a knife a little bit before. Sure, I'll do it because exactly what you said. I knew that it was my job, and it never even occurred to me that it was. I thought, when's the last time a father does this except for a Moyl?
so I've done 2 of my 3 boys. The first one was done by my mentor, and I did the other 2, and they were easier for me to do than anyone else's brisses, because for the first time I didn't have to worry about explaining to the parents what's going to happen. I didn't have to worry about making sure the parents are calm or making sure people aren't seeing this or seeing that. I just got to purely focus on the bris.
I had no idea what to expect. But when I told you that I would do it, you asked me, and I said I would do it. You said, I think the words were, like a hot knife through butter. You said, you assured me that your instruments were sharp and it would be quick and easy. And
was it?
It was a breeze. There was no resistance. There was no... It was very interesting. My father was holding Eitan. He was the Sandek. And I remember the room was full of people, and all of a sudden I didn't see anything, I didn't hear anything.
Right.
All I saw was an area about this big, and all I saw was the Mogen clamp. I couldn't see Eitan. I couldn't see
Silver.
Eitan. I didn't see
Right.
my father.
Piece of skin.
I saw the Mogen clamp. And David, you had me the knife, and and it was done. I mean, the whole experience was a few seconds. But it was as close to spirituality as I think I could have ever come.
That description of it is amazing. How everything else is all of a sudden not there, and there's all of a sudden there's quiet in your ears, and it's like everything is frozen. So I too have. I didn't realize it. I'm remembering it now. I too have that memory of it. Everything around being quiet, and all I had to do was just do it, and then it lasts what seems to be an eternity, but it goes very quickly, and then all of a sudden then there's noise again around.
There were 2 connections that were really made for me that day, and they're totally separate realms of the spectrum for me. One was that, as I have the knife in my hand, I think more than any other time, I felt connected to the Jewish tradition. It's more, for me at least, a personal thing. But having the knife in my hand just before the cut really brought me back all the way, to the very beginning, to Abraham. And there are very few traditions that are like that. And the other aspect of it, which is like the opposite end of the spectrum, is that it's really a time to connect with your child. Jeremy was our firstborn, and I had no sense of familial love with him that I had just my whole life with my parents, my sister, my wife. And as he was living in our house for the first 7 days, I said to my father, I don't feel love here. It's not what I'm used to, and I feel it's a little strange. It's a little odd. What am I supposed to be feeling? Is it going to change? And as Jeremy was in front of me, and as I was doing the cut, it really just all dawned on me how how much responsibility I had for him, how it seemed to be a defining moment. My relationship toward him changed, and a connection was made that wasn't there before.
It's interesting. I worked with you a little bit at Microsoft before we did the bris, and I thought of you as very straightforward. Just everything, by the numbers, very, very clear.
Yes, I'm an engineer. Right?
You're an engineer, and while you're making the cut, for the first time, I saw this amazing emotions just come forth from you, which you don't see in engineers.
It was very sad because I remember crying afterwards.
Yeah.
My father happened to be like right next to me, and we hugged, and it was a very emotional moment.
Yeah.
It's an awesome feeling of being of entering another person into this community, of being the person who's you're doing it, you're making it happen, and you have the chance to make it happen. It's wonderful.